Pigeon racing has produced many champions in a span of just half a century. Weg, Briku, Puiskens van Riel, Stikkelbot, Havenith, Gebroders Janssen, Delbar and Catris are to name a few, all well-renowned names. They were for various periods of time great champions. Even today their roles haven't ended yet. In many a family tree you will find the names of the base pigeons of these pigeon fanciers. A man who belongs without a doubt in this illustrious list is Jos Van Limpt De Klak from the small village of Reusel. This man has always performed in great style until his dying day. The life of Jos De Klak was completely devoted to racing pigeons. The well-being of the pigeons was secured first with anything that passed in the home of Van Limpt. According to Jos' philosophy, no matter in what sport, if you don't give it your all you will never reach the top. Jos Van Limpt De Klak was born and raised with pigeon racing. Besides his love for the sport, he also received his nickname De Klak from his father. When Van Limpt Sr. was spotted during a mild rain shower with a large klak, Belgian expression for hat, his nickname was born. After Van Limpt Sr. passed away in 1943, Jos automatically inherited his father's nickname. Before the Second World War, Van Limpt Sr. was already spoken about with much awe. In this time he was one of the first who raced with pigeons of the sort the Janssen brothers from the nearby town of Arendonk used. Jos' father worked at cigar factory beside Arjan Janssen and was able to get the best of the best this way. Because keeping pigeons was outlawed during the Second World War, Jos had to start from scratch afterwards. His mother insisted he approach the famous brothers from Arendonk. After all, his father was always treated correctly there and he achieved great successes with their pigeons. Jos never wanted any other pigeons afterwards than those of the Janssen brothers. Not because all the other pigeons were bad, but they certainly weren't better. The medium-distance flights were Jos' greatest passion in all his life. He was less interested in other races. He created a type of pigeons that was inimitable for medium distances and which were fast enough for the short jobs and tough enough for the single-day races. The watchword of Jos was, work with a good pedigree, eliminate inbreeding, race a lot and select strictly. Because of that it might happen when you study a family tree of a random recent klak pigeon, you can encounter cracks of old times like the 881 Van 47, the 43 Do If It Had John Koppel, Vector X Witch Pennock or the 613. Jos Van Limpt and his racing accomplishments, as others knew him better and will relate his story more fully at a later time. I will say that no one including the Janssen brothers themselves ever raced and bred the Janssen strain with more success. Only death itself could stop De Klak from dominating the race scene. Even in 2002, at age 78, he was champion of his combine. No sickness and hospital stays prevented him from entering his loft except one time during the year. Instead he depended on his loft manager to prepare the birds according to his instructions. On many occasions over the past 4 years, Ad Sherlekens has helped to clock De Klak's birds for him. Ad mentions how this relationship only solidified his belief that De Klak was one of the great handlers of all time. With Ad Sherlekens in the loft, De Klak would shout to him, as the birds arrived, and telling Ad which box a bird would land next. Even at his advanced age, Jos Van Limpt could recognize his birds in the air as they returned from a race and knew the location of each bird's nest box. Jos Van Limpt purchased his first Janssen birds direct from the brothers in the 1940 and continued making purchases up until the 1990. However, during the last 11 years, no additional purchases were made from the brothers as his own family was consistently surpassing the quality of the brothers' birds, which should be expected considering the advanced age of the brothers and the fact that 6 of the 7 brothers had died during this time period. I think, when we look at the number of people who attended this auction and the prices offered for the 66 birds, we can safely say that Jos Van Limpt must be one of the top-rated flyers of all time. North American fanciers can thank Sheik Brooks of Hepiko Lofts for acquiring these 11 birds. In the years to come, the best of the De Klak Janssens will be available to North American fanciers and thanks to Sheik's efforts. With 34 of the 66 birds going to Taiwan and the rest scattered across Europe and around the world. These 11 birds must represent the greatest concentration of De Klak Janssen original breeders anywhere in the world today. The pigeons. De Klak had a lot of famous pigeons. Several of them before many of us were even born. But in the last 25 years of his life, his best pigeons were also very famous all over the world. Like Goud Klomp Duif Reusel, a super racing half-brother of DE 613, Kampioens Duif 99, daughter of half-brother DE 613 cross daughter DE 613, DE Knook, the father of DE 613, Crass 80 top racing half-sister of DE 613, and more. Many of them, as you can see from or in close relationship with. March 2004, we lost one of the greatest pigeon fanciers, Jos Van Limpt, also known as De Klak, from Reusel in the Netherlands. De Klak was a very famous fancier, with a fantastic family of pigeons, that today still continues to win races all over the world. The champion from Reusel did only buy pigeons from the world-famous Janssen brothers from Arendonk, and built his own family from these pigeons. Super beautiful pigeons with the capability to win from 100 to 700 kilometers races.